Hi, Mia. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just for everyone who's just joining, I'm Eliana. I work at Random House, and we are joined right now with Mia Rigden. Mia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Mia Rigden. I am a nutritionist and the founder of Rasa, which is a private nutrition practice based in Santa Monica, California. And I'm also the author of the Well Journal.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us a bit about the Well Journal and how you're hoping that people will be using it during this time?
Yeah, of course. So here's a copy in case you haven't seen it. So the Well Journal is a food and lifestyle journal that is meant to connect the dots between what you eat and how you live. I work with a lot of clients privately, and how the Well Journal came to be was that I had these elaborate Google spreadsheets because it's, of course, very helpful for me to see what my clients are eating. But I wasn't a huge fan of some of the food tracking apps like MyFitnessPal
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like they were very focused on quantitative data, which is like calories, macros, and, weight and those sorts of things, which of course those numbers have significance and they're important. But I feel like when we focus too much on the numbers, we miss the big picture. So I wanted to focus on journaling through the lens of more qualitative data. So like, how does this food make you feel? And, so in the journal, you're logging not just what you ate, but also how you're sleeping, what your general mood was for the day, if you exercised, how many vegetables you ate, if you remember to take your supplements or your medication,
Mm-hmm.
and also areas to foster a positive relationship with the foods that you eat. So you're logging things that you're grateful for, and trying to really focus on the celebratory nature of food and create more of a symbiotic relationship with the foods that you eat, instead of trying to overly scrutinize or manipulate or feel guilty about what you're eating. So yeah, there's an element of that, and it's really a tool for self-discovery, so that if you're journaling for a month, you can say, oh wow, like when I have a donut for breakfast, I crave sugar throughout the day, but when I eat something else, I have much more sustained energy levels. Or when I sleep really well and when I go to bed earlier, then my food choices are influenced the next day. And then you can decide what are the best foods and the best activities and routines for your body.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I think that a lot of people could really use something like that during this time where we're all just home and our pantries are just there, sort of
Yeah.
ready to be pillaged at any time of the day. So what really drove you to then create the Well Journal?
Well, I had these elaborate Google sheets that my clients were filling out, and I felt like I wanted to create something tangible. And I toyed with like how I could make journaling more fun and aesthetically pleasing. And I thought about something digital, but I feel like there's something about pen to paper and being able to
Hmm.
flip through the pages
Yeah.
that is really gratifying. So I was chatting with a friend of mine who's like an amazing graphic designer, and she loved the idea and wanted to help me. And so she just created the most beautiful journal. And, after one, she sent me one mock up, and I was like, that's amazing. I love it. Let's do it. And so that was kind of how it came to be. And, really to allow more people than just my private clients
Hmm.
to have this form of self-discovery, and to really learn how to celebrate the foods that they eat, so that their foods are both delicious and providing nutritional value and helping them to feel good, so they can just feel really confident and empowered by their food choices.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have a personal favorite feature in the journal that you like to use or that
I
you
mean,
like
definitely.
seeing other
Well, I mean,
people
the
use?
design is my favorite,
Yeah.
because, I think aesthetics are important when it comes to these things, because we love creating beautiful dishes. And, I mean, people are so into food
Hmm.
photography and, putting their photos on Instagram or going to a restaurant and seeing these beautifully presented meals. And I think that it's really important to, as I mentioned, to have a really positive relationship with the foods that you eat. So it was like one feature about the journal that I was just really passionate about, that it be something that you would be proud to have on your
Hmm.
bedside table or in your purse or in the kitchen with you, something that would be almost like an accessory in your home, a coffee table book or something like that, so that you could just you feel like, oh, I'm excited to write about these foods. I'm excited to write about what I did today because it felt really good and I really enjoyed it. So the design, I'll show it again. The design is something I love this color, and that's just something that that was really important to me. Another feature inside the daily journaling that I really like is the gratitude practice. There, you know, for me, nutrition is a lot more than what you put in your mouth. So it's how you're sleeping, it's your mental health, it's, exercise, of course. And so, there's a lot of studies that confirm that just a daily practice of writing down what you're grateful for can really flip the script in your head and start focusing on positive things and really improve your mental health and your outlook on yourself. So I think that it's really important that we don't just focus on the food, although the food's very important. There are other factors, there's what we eat, but there's also why and how. So the journal, of course, focuses on what you're eating, but also tries to address the why and the how. So if you find that you're really stressed out all the time, so it makes you snack more, or it makes you crave sugar, or want to drink more alcohol or caffeine, then, hopefully having some positive journaling practices with your food can help you to make better choices.
Yeah, for sure. Just for anyone just joining in now, I'm Eliana, and I'm joined with Mia Rigden, author of the Well Journal. So curious about how and if your daily routine has changed at all during quarantine and anything that's helped you adapt.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
I have a home office, so I've always worked from home. I mean, clients are no longer coming to to see me in person, but I'm still working virtually with people. So as far as that's concerned, it hasn't changed. My husband's home, which is actually really great, and we have a 7-month-old baby.
Oh.
So, I mean, I feel like the time that we get to spend with him is just invaluable, but of course it's a lot of coordination. And then as far as our routine, we're eating all of our meals together, which is nice, not rushing out to grab lunch. My husband's not in the office. So, that's nice, but I'm cooking a lot more.
Yeah.
So I've really been taking this time to experiment with new recipes and to try new things, and also to try and live a little bit more simply. So we're fortunate to live in Southern California, so we've joined a CSA, and I think in other parts of the country I know in New York they come out in May, so there could be it more accessible to more people. But in California, I get a produce box every week. It's $25. And
oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we every week it's like a race to try and eat it all. So
Yeah.
constantly some things come in the box. I don't even know what it is. So I'm like Googling it. How do I prepare this? So that's been a really fun challenge, and really been trying to make meal times special. I love to go out for dinner and try new restaurants. And so not being able to do that, I'm trying to sit down at the end of the day and have a nice meal, no phones, nice conversation, and really enjoy food.
Yeah.
Enjoy a nice meal.
For sure. Speaking of food, do you have any advice for anyone who may be struggling with the new quarantine 15, as they're calling it?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is a really tricky time, so let's try not to be too hard on ourselves. But it also is really important for us to prioritize our health right now. I think there's a lot that we can do to stay healthy, but through nutrition and lifestyle practices. So right now is when we need to use our toolbox. All of those meditation classes you took, the breathing exercises you looked up, the recipes that you've curated and developed over the years and tried, like now is the time to put all that to work, and try to stay as healthy as possible. So we really need to prioritize sleep, to try and move every day, to carve out time for self-care, and also stress management techniques, and try and eat well, but also in a way that it's going to feel good, because I think all of us are craving a little bit of comfort when it comes to food, but I truly believe that can intersect with your health goals as well. So the way that I like to look at it is like, think of a Venn diagram with three circles. And so one is, you know, the way that the food tastes, because obviously it's really important that your food tastes good. And
Yeah.
the other is the way that the food makes you feel, because you want to feel good, not just momentarily while you're eating it, but also an hour, 2 hours, 12 hours after you eat it. And then the third circle would be the nutritional value. So if you are, you know, going to have, you know, I don't know, fast food that tastes kind of good, but, you know, doesn't make you feel good and doesn't offer nutritional value, like I would not consider that to be a productive food. So if we can focus on foods that, you know, that fit into that area where the three circles converge. So it tastes good, it feels really good, and it's offering nutritional value. Then, you know, there's no need to go on some fad diet or restrict or scrutinize and try to manipulate your food choices. Just really try to focus on those foods that feel good for your body. And then you don't need to, you know, worry about your weight.
Yeah, that sounds, we have a question from someone. It says, are there any foods that can help you sleep better?
Yeah. So of course,
Yeah.
I think that when talking about sleep, eating at regular times during the day is going to help regulate your circadian rhythm. So, you know, I think especially being home, sometimes our eating patterns can be a little bit erratic. Like, oh, well, today I slept until this time, I had breakfast, and then I didn't end up eating dinner until 9. So, trying to eat at regular times during the day. Also, if you're struggling with sleep, trying to finish eating at least 3 hours before bed,
Hmm.
and also trying to minimize sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. That's going to really help with sleep. And I'm always a big fan of eating an abundance and diversity of plant-based foods, so fruits and vegetables. So the more diversity that you're able to get, the more nutrition you're going to get, which is going to help, you know, it's going to help your whole body to regulate. If you're also really struggling to sleep, maybe having your main meal at lunch and then a lighter dinner might help.
Yeah. And then we have another question. How did you become a nutritionist?
So my grandmother was a dietitian, and I
Oh,
grew up in California. And she was like in the 90s when everyone was avoiding fat, like eating all these coconut products. I mean, we'd take her to Whole Foods and she would just like slathering coconut oil all over her body. And she was a visionary. But yeah, I grew up, you know, around my grandmother, who was always so interested in nutrition and health. And then, you know, my whole family cooked. So after I graduated from college, I actually went to culinary school.
mm,
And I was working in restaurants in New York doing PR, and I loved it. I was, you know, young in New York and getting to dine out at these fancy restaurants and have
yeah.
these amazing dining experiences, but it didn't really feel good. So I knew at that time that I wanted to work in food because I love food, but I wanted to do it in a way that felt good in my body. So I went and I got my health coaching license. And after I got my health coaching license and started working with clients, I wanted to learn more. So then I went and I got my master's in integrative nutrition. And yeah, so I've been doing this work for about 5 years.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a
It's
really
fun.
interesting start.
Yeah, I love it. It was roundabout, but you know, my nutrition practice is really rooted in my love of food. So my goal
Yeah.
for all of my clients is to be able to safely introduce as many foods as possible. And you know, I'm not big on rules and restrictions, but I do have two rules for all my clients: that your food has to taste good and it has to be easy. So if it's, you know, cumbersome to make all of your meals or to do, you know, some people like to cook, some people don't like to cook. So we have to figure out a way to make it fit into your life and to make sure that you enjoy it. Otherwise, there's just no way you're going to, you know, you're going to continue doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Another question from one of our viewers is, what are your favorite quick, light prep, plant-based meals, or I guess snacks?
Snacks. Okay. So I think that, you know, I like to schedule a snack in during the day. So, you know, I'll have a breakfast between 9 and 10, and then, you know, maybe lunch around 1. And then, you know, I mean, I have a 7-month-old son, so I'm not really able to get dinner together until after he's asleep at
Hmm.
7. So, you know, between 1 and 7, that's a long time to go without food. So I think every 3 to 4 hours, you probably need some food. Most of us need something to eat. So
Yeah.
instead of just picking at things in that in between time. Well, first of all, it's really important that you have full meals. So you want protein, fiber, fat in every meal so that you're not hungry 90 minutes later. And, you know, just to make sure you're feeling really satisfied. But then for a snack, I like to have something that either has some, you know, high protein, high fat. So I love like half of an avocado with, you know, maybe some olive oil, sea salt, lemon. Or I love like carrots and, you know, raw vegetables and hummus. You're going to get some great fiber, some protein, some healthy fats out of that. Hard-boiled eggs are fantastic. So, you know, and snacking on vegetables, but I try and make, or like a, you know, an apple with some peanut butter or almond
Love
butter.
apple with peanut butter.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Or like a yogurt is really fantastic. So I try and, you know, put my snack on a plate, schedule it, and sit down to eat it as if you would a meal so that you're not grazing all afternoon, because I find that happens, or you get really hungry right around the time that you're making dinner, and so then you end up snacking so much, then when the dinner's finally ready, you're like, well, I made this, I'm gonna eat it, not really, and that's always a little bit awkward. So I think that having a planned afternoon snack, trying to get some protein, some fat in there, is really fantastic. And you can get plenty of protein from plants as well. It doesn't all have to be animal protein.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to share?
Well, I just hope everyone's staying well and really uses this time to try and find a way to celebrate food in a way that feels really good for their bodies. So that doesn't mean that we need to put too much pressure on ourselves to be on some, you know, diet or cleanse, just really turning inwards and trying to align our actions with our goals, and really focusing on gaining more knowledge and understanding about what feels good in your body, because you're the expert. You know your body better than anyone else. So I know there's a lot of information out there, but really try and tune in and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope everyone has a great Sunday.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.